Attention passionate Baltimore Ravens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Baltimore Ravens' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Baltimore Ravens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS, and Baltimore RAVENS fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention around the league lately, you've probably heard some whispers. Rumors flying about a potential blockbuster move that could shake up the AFC North in a way we haven't seen in years. And no, I'm not talking about some minor trade or a free agent signing. We're talking about a possible trade that could redefine the Ravens' defensive front and set us up for a serious Super Bowl push. The buzz is around Maxx Crosby, the relentless edge rusher from the Las Vegas Raiders who might be on the move, and if that happens, Ravens fans, it could be a game changer. Let's back up a little and set the scene. The Raiders, currently sitting at 2-9, are in a full-blown rebuild mode. Their defense has struggled immensely this season, giving up an average of 28. 4 points per game, and that's simply not sustainable when you're trying to compete in this league. On top of that, they've got a hefty cap hit, around $25 million in dead money. That's limiting their flexibility. With some key injuries, like Dremont Jones being out for the season and injuries to players like Majabuik, who's missed time due to a neck injury, and Bryan with a knee issue, the Raiders are desperate to shake things up. Sources whisper that the Raiders are considering moving Crosby, a player who's been a nightmare for offensive lines since he came into the league in 2019. Over his 7-year career, Crosby has accumulated an impressive stat sheet. 250 solo tackles, 120 assists, 68 sacks, and over 450 pressures, with a PFF grade consistently around 90. 2, he's a disruptive force, a true hurricane off the edge, who's capable of changing the entire dynamic of a defense. His ability to generate sacks, pressure quarterbacks, and disrupt backfields is second to none. Last season, Crosby racked up 18 sacks in just 11 games, and his pressure rate shot up by over 20%, making him even more lethal. Now, the potential trade makes sense from the Raiders' perspective. They're looking to rebuild their secondary and add more depth to their passing game, especially with the cap space and roster needs they have. Some reports suggest they might be asking for a first-round pick and a third-rounder in 2026 in exchange for Crosby, which is a hefty price, but one that could be justified given his impact. The Raiders are also rebuilding their defense with younger players and trying to develop their secondary, which has been a weak spot, letting up 2 sacks per game this season. They're trying to retool and get more draft capital, especially with the draft class they're eyeing. But let's focus on what this means for Baltimore, because if this trade happens, it's going to send shockwaves through the AFC North. Adding Crosby to our already talented front, alongside Odefoe and others, could elevate our pass rush to a whole new level. Think about it. Crosby's relentless pressure, combined with the Ravens' existing pass rushers, could easily push us from a respectable 35 sacks to over 60. That's a massive boost, folks. Our defense could transform into a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, forcing turnovers and creating more scoring opportunities for Lamar Jackson and the offense. And it's not just about sacks. Crosby's presence on the field would elevate the entire defensive unit. His pressure rate of over 90 in recent seasons, and his ability to consistently beat offensive tackles like Tristan Wirfs in Tampa Bay give him that extra edge. If he joins the Ravens, we could see a 22% increase in EPA per pass, and our points allowed could drop dramatically, possibly from around 21. 5 points per game down closer to 17. That's a serious upgrade, and it could be the missing piece we need to really contend for the AFC title and a shot at Super Bowl LXI. Now, of course, there are some questions. The Raiders are hesitant. They might be skeptical about trading Crosby, especially considering his elite production and the leadership he provides on the field. But if they let him go, it's likely because they're prioritizing their rebuild and cap flexibility over short-term success. The risk for the Raiders is losing a player who's been a cornerstone of their defense, which could cause sacks to drop by nearly 30%, similar to what happened to the Broncos after losing Von Miller. They need to rebuild their secondary, and that's where the Ravens could come in and make a huge splash. For Baltimore fans, this potential move is exciting. Imagine Crosby lining up on the edge, constantly harassing quarterbacks, forcing hurried throws, and creating chaos in the backfield. His addition would not only improve our pass rush, but also help us dominate third down situations, increasing our stop percentage by over 16% and making it hard for offenses to sustain drives. His presence could also elevate our red zone defense, pushing stops from 55% to over 73%, which is huge when it comes to winning close games. From a statistical perspective, Crosby's influence isn't just about sacks. His pressure numbers, win rate, and ability to generate turnovers make him a game-changing player. For example, his turnover differential of +10 over his career shows his knack for creating takeaways, which are crucial in playoff push scenarios. His recent season, playing 11 games in 2025 with 18 sacks, demonstrates that even with injuries, he remains one of the league's top pass rushers. The potential for him to team up with our existing stars like Odefoe makes this a tantalizing possibility. Looking ahead, if the Ravens somehow manage to acquire Crosby, the odds of us making a deep playoff run increase significantly. Bookmakers have already adjusted their Super Bowl odds, with some placing us at +1,500, but if Crosby joins, those odds could shrink to +800 or better. His presence on the field would make us an even more formidable opponent, especially in high-pressure moments. His clutch EPA per play of +0.40 and his ability to disrupt in critical moments would make him a true X-factor for our team. The AFC North is already a tough division, but adding a player of Crosby's caliber would make it nearly impossible for our rivals, like the Bengals or Steelers, to keep up. The Steelers, for example, struggled in 2022 after losing T.J. Watt for part of the season, and the AFC North's balance could shift even further if the Ravens bolster their pass rush with Crosby. This could set us up for years of dominance, especially if we continue to develop our young talent like Odefoe and others. Now, I know some fans might be skeptical about giving up draft capital or whether Crosby would be a good fit culturally. But when you look at what he's capable of doing on the field, his relentless motor, his ability to set the edge, and his knack for making game-changing plays, it's clear he could be the piece that pushes us over the top. The Ravens have always valued tough, disruptive players, and Crosby embodies that mentality. His addition would send a message to the league that Baltimore isn't just here to compete, they're here to dominate. In conclusion, folks, this potential trade is more than just a rumor. It's a strategic move that could define the next phase of Ravens football. With Crosby, we'd be adding a player who can turn games around single-handedly, who can elevate our entire defense, and who can help us chase that elusive Super Bowl trophy. The division rivals should be worried, because if this happens, the Ravens are not just contenders, they're favorites. It's a bold move, but one that could cement our legacy as a team that refuses to settle for anything less than greatness. And now, Baltimore Ravens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Baltimore Ravens. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Baltimore Ravens news.